So I don't think you can see it so clearly right now because of the angle of the camera, but at the end of the last video I zoomed in on this area to show that this was kind of bothering me, kind of, this one trunk was sort of in the middle of the entire area. And this was also faded out, you know, it needed some design. I don't like that in the middle like that. It's not quite, but I think what I can do is I can move it without touching it. So I think what I'll do is shift, because what I'd like to do is have naturally, if you were just to think of this as a line drawing, this suddenly becomes your focal area, right? Because you've got these two borders, the open area that allows you to look through. But if I can make this less important and come over here and make this more important, I can move my focal area to the center, as I think I mentioned I wanted to do. I wanted to have my focal area here. And that will allow this to look like it's not so centered anymore. I want to just push it that way. To do that, I'm going to have to create a little more drama in here with my color and dumb this down a little bit. So if we take a little bit of yellow ochre, alizarin crimson, and ultramarine blue, and a bit of white, because I don't want to go too dark in here. But we've got kind of a warm, dirty-ish purple going on. I call it a dirty purple because in this context it appears to be a dirty purple. Again, it depends. Well, it depends on what it sits against. Looks a bit dirty because we're against some oranges now. If it were in a sky with some higher values and more blue, it wouldn't appear to be quite that much, or quite that dirty. Then you might refer to it as a mature mauve. Okay, so we're just killing that area back there. We're still in the washing stage. I haven't started anything yet. Okay, so we've made that less important. I kind of like the idea of this crescent of orange still showing up a little more strongly. With a little more vigor. So, now let's move over here to the left. I'm just going to give my brush a quick wipe. It doesn't have to be too clean. And give my palette a quick wipe. Okay, yellow ochre and a bit of alizarin crimson. And I'm adding paint thinner the whole time. Well, turpentine, whatever you want to add. That's all. It's up to you what you do. Okay, that's a bit. It's not quite strong enough. I'll add a little more yellow ochre to my spot here, or to my pile on the palette. Higher value. I'm just going to work with my earth tones on my wash in now. I'll be using some cadmiums when I get into the actual overpainting. But for the time being, this will do just fine. I don't think that I want to take this right down to this field here yet. I don't mind the idea of some bush, you know, just standing a little bit in front. Taking this opportunity to strengthen a couple of trunks that may be back there. Provide them with a little more strength. Okay. Excuse me. Okay. Time to have a good look at that. So one thing I'd like to point out actually is that this seems to be a very narrow sliver of land right now, and it seems as though this is all going to be very much in the shade, and most of it is. But some of these colors and values are going to be brought into this area. See this sliver of land? It narrows out there. That's going to be the transition area between some sun that's shining on this field and this actual darker area. There will be spots of light elsewhere, but although I've washed this in fairly dark, it's sort of going to be, you know, sort of halfway between this and this. So it's going to have some of these colors in it, and I'm going to leave quite a bit here. I left it dark as a wash-in because if I use a brush, I can easily cover the whole thing. If I use a knife, it's okay to allow some of those lower values to show through. That's what helps to give the look of texture, you know, on this land, on this little sliver. Anyway, I just wanted to point that out. That you don't see it on the canvas. That still exists in my imagination, you know, and in my plan. So we'll see where that goes. Okay, so let's put some paint on this. In a way that doesn't draw too much attention to it, but at the same time provides variety. I think our colors are okay in general. That might be a bit dark. Yeah. No, I'm not too sure about that. I'm using just ultramarine blue at the moment. And a bit of alizarin crimson and a bit of white. Gotta be pretty generous with the colors here. You know, I think that the general sweep of the painting will be like this. So let's just do that. Just as a guide. Actually, I think that's a bit high in this guy. Maybe we'll bring it down a little bit, like so. And mix up our ultramarine blue, alizarin crimson with a bit of white. Again, keeping the variety going color-wise. When I did that, I just cleaned off the back of my knife, because as you paint, you'll get paint curling around to the front side of your knife as well, and you need to be aware of that, or you'll lose control of what you're laying on. You lose control of your ability to lay on colors just the way you want them. Okay, trying to keep subdued. And of course, allowing some of your wash in to show through. That's my technique. A lot of people who paint with the knife, in fact, I'm going to guess that the majority of people who use a knife to paint will cover the canvas completely. I've seen a lot of people who use the knife and they're starting with a white canvas and you know, or maybe some liquid or what have you to lay their base on. I have nothing against that, but I like to do my wash in and then just once the wash-in's in, you know, as long as it's not too thinly applied, it provides for a good strong base. And if the paint, the overpainting doesn't touch some of that area, it's not a problem. It's not a workmanship issue. Excuse me. As you can see, I'm still poking for some design in this guy. Not much, but for some reason I can't bring myself to just ignore a little bit of design in the area because, well, some kind of design, even if it's like a little micro design, it still adds just a bit of richness to the painting. Okay, I'm going to load my palette up again. Okay, I think I'm going to go into some cobalt blue now. Bumping the chrome up a little bit. And okay, I'm going to mix that with some ultramarine and a bit of alizarin crimson because that was a bit strong. Yep, okay. That's going to work. Okay, back to my alizarin crimson and ultramarine blue because I would like to how is that? It's pretty light. Okay, more alizarin crimson. Or sorry, more ultramarine blue. And more alizarin crimson. Whoops, got some junk in the paint. Always get some junk in the paint. Yeah, I think for the moment I'd like to, up here, sort of stay along this this color line-ish. Just for starters, just for starters. Mostly because it's at the edge of the painting. That's a bit of a thick one, that is. We'll just thin that off a little bit. And we'll do it there as well. I think my wash-in was a little bit thin in spots. So you can see I'm being a little bit flamboyant with my colors. Not much though, just kind of I'm putting them on fairly thinly. But I want to keep the strokes. I don't want the strokes to be too organized. Because I don't want the strength to be up here. I want the strength to come down here. Have hard lines and good solid decisions, good thing, but it makes the painting very strong, and you want to reserve your strength for certain areas, right? Okay, we're going to go into the cobalt blue again here a little bit. A bit of white. Excuse me. Come on. Okay, that's all right. Okay. A little more cobalt blue. I don't want that strong white there like that. Okay. Okay, I'm going to carry on with that. And once I've painted in the whole area, and I'm very close to it now, you know, I'm just going to repeat what I've said before, is I'm going to lightly, with my knife, remove any buildup of paint, like any of the edges when I've laid paint around my structure. I'm going to remove that very lightly because those lines can be weak. I want the lines, the strong lines, to be on the foliage which is in front, you know, or the structure that's in front. Talk to you soon. So this is painted now. Got a little more organized in here because I have to finish this before I start this. Don't have to, but I want to. And also I decided to, this sliver that I was talking about earlier, I decided to make it lighter. I just wanted to remove that feeling of this tree being part of this dark bunch. Wanted to make that field a little bit wider for my own comfort. Anyway. Well, I wanted to allow a person to begin to look into the bush here and then continue to see some bright colors here as well, and most of the dark to keep to the right. And then because I like the shape of this, I went ahead and painted it. That wasn't so smart, was it? So I think maybe what we'll do is I'm not gonna, I could fix it with a knife, but I don't think I want to. I think I'd like to fix it now with the washing. I like to have a little more accurate guide with me when I'm doing this. So, washing it is. It's good, when it's good to keep revisiting the painting before you make too many decisions. Because once you get in there with the knife, they're harder to change. And you'll notice now with my brush, I'm not just going brush, 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 brush. I'm trying to put in some thoughtful strokes. And that way when I come back with the knife, I can up the ante, up the chroma, up the value, and go with some very reasonably planned brush strokes. There. Now a person can stretch their eyes a little bit, look into that and think, okay, there's something around the corner, I can keep going, instead of, this blob that I had here was just blocking you off. I must stand, I must back up, I must review. Okay, I must fix. We're getting close, not close enough. And everything's still wet enough. I'm just using more paint thinner, more terps. Not even worried all that much about color accuracy at the moment. I kind of like this little guy in there. I'm not sure if he's going to stay or not. He's very much halfway between here and here, and that's never a good idea. So I'm just going to get rid of it. Even though I liked it, it's going to have to go. Okay. Let's see again. Yeah, I think that helps, This no longer feels so much like it's the center of this area. It's pushed to the right because it's darker here, lighter here, or higher chroma here. More, center of interest has been pulled to the left.